Welcome everyone. Myself, Hemang Panchal, Asta Powerproject consultant from Solid Support. In the next 15 to 20 minutes, I'll be providing you with an overview of the latest version of Asta Powerproject version 17, and I will talk to you about the main updates in this version. Okay, before we begin, bit of a housekeeping in relation to GoToWebinar. So you can minimize the panel of GoToWebinar by clicking on the arrow. At this stage, everyone is muted, but there's a question box at the bottom of the screen where you can type in your question and you can discuss this towards the end of the presentation. So version 17 introduces several core updates and improvements to Asta Powerproject, and I'll take you through the core updates live. Now, along with this, we are also having a significant development with the other companion products of Powerproject like Asta Vision, Connect, Site Progress, and 4D BIM. While we are developing these technologies individually, the objective is we want to create a collaborative environment between all these products. What this will do is it will help our customer to achieve the best outcome and address the day-to-day challenges. Okay, so what's new in version 17? So the first update is that there is a brand new installer. With previous versions, the installer used to come in two versions, 32 and 64. But from version 17 onwards, there's going to be only one download link, which you can see on your screen, which ends with setup.exe. So every time you download from this link, it will be a latest version downloaded. Now, earlier version also never had an update mechanism. Version 17 will have an update mechanism, which will notify you when there is a new version available. So the way it will work is like when you start Powerproject, it will notify you if there is a new build available. You have the option to either download it or you can skip it. If you skip it, then the subsequent releases will again ask you to download it or skip it. If you press OK, it will talk over the cloud and download the latest version. And the next time you open Powerproject, you will see the latest version of Powerproject on your machine. This means we can deliver the value faster than before. You can also expect more frequent releases from us. And then this will means like you can take advantage of the latest enhancement from the day one. The second feature update in version 17 is Autosave. Now you can autosave your work. This means it will prevent you from losing your work if there's a device failure or power loss. This option you can see in Powerproject under File Options and General. Let me just show you on Powerproject itself. So let me just switch my screen to Powerproject. And if you go to File, Options, General, and there is a setting which you can enable the autosave, and you can also set the frequency of the autosave. So every 10 minutes, your project will be saved to the default location you got where you save your project file. The third feature in version 17 which got introduced is the project timeline. The project timeline helps you to put the key project activities and milestone on the bar, and which will help you to discuss during your progress update meetings. This timeline is also customizable and it's dockable. You can also copy this timeline and put it into other applications like Word, or you can put it on the email and share with your colleagues. Let me take you through the timeline on Powerproject. So in my Powerproject, if I got version 17, you can see I've added a tab for timeline. This you can add by customizing the ribbon. So if I click customize here, it will open the option to customize the ribbon. And it's got all the features. If you got version 17, you got all the features for timeline. So now you can see I got a timeline here, which I've added. And then I got all the features related to timeline, which I added under timeline tab. I can cancel that. To enable the timeline, I can click on the tab here. Click on timeline, and you can see a timeline on the top of the project. And here you can see key activities and milestones we put on, which will be helping me to discuss during the progress update meetings. Now to put that activities or milestone directly on timeline, you can easily select an activity and just drag it on the timeline, and it will show you on the timeline. You can click on the activity, you can change its background color, you can also change its fonts. You can also go to the activity directly from the timeline. So if I just click on go to task here, it will take me to the task here on the Gantt chart. You can also remove the activity from the timeline. You can display on bar, you can display as call out, you can change the date format. And then if you want, you can select the clipboard and put it onto a different application. So let me just open Word, and then if I put it on the Word, you can see you can easily copy and paste to another application. You can also change the coloring of the scroller. So this is green, I can change it to blue, and then I can also scroll across the timeline. This pane itself is dockable, so you can take it somewhere here, you can put it here, you can just put it back up there. So whatever you like, you can just do with the pane here. Okay, so that's timeline there. Then you got project tab colors. So with version 17, now you got an option to set up a default tab colors. So for example, if you have multiple projects open inside Powerproject, you can differentiate them visually from their tab colors. Or if you can also set different colors for the different view category inside the same project. So each view or each view category would have a different coloring. Let me just show you on Powerproject. So I got a project open which is called green. To set this one, you go to File, Properties, and Default tab colors. If I change this to red and go back, I can see there's a red color for this project. If I open another project tab, you can see this project's got green color by default. So visually, I can differentiate that I got two projects open inside Powerproject. Let me close this. You can also set multiple coloring for different views. So if I go to View here, and then if I go to Library Explorer, if I click on View Category, you can see there are different coloring set for different types of view category. So now if I open cost, for example, cost view, you can see cost view got a different coloring here. And the way to change that is from here. So you can just go here, you can just change it to yellow, it just changes to yellow. So it's very easy just to identify the different projects or different views in your program through project tab colors. Next feature update with version 17 is the task activity. So now in Powerproject, you can break your main activity into subtasks. Now this simplifies the structure of overall program without losing the fine details. So for example, if you have a main task, let's say to tarmac the driveway, and you got 4 driveways for tarmacking, and you don't know the order of its complete. So what you can do is it becomes very difficult to schedule. You have to put start and finish and link them, and if one progresses before the other, and it's a bit of a progressing issue as well. So what you can do is instead you can create the 4 subtasks and then just put the percent, just put the complete against the activity as they are finished. So let's see that in Powerproject. If I got an activity here, let's say demolition, I'll just make it like driveway tarmacking. And in this activity, if I go to the properties of the activity, I got a new feature called task activity. And inside task activity, I can add the subtask. So let's say this is driveway 1. driveway 2, driveway 3, and driveway 4. And what I can do is I can then just simply just progress them. And then if you see the progress for that activity, it's 50% done. That's because 2 out of 4 activities got progress there. It also got the weighting. So what I can do is, like, if you got one driveway longer than the other, let's say this one is longer than the other one, then I can have the weightage of this one is 70% and the others could be at 10% each. So I can also progress the main activity depending on the weightage of the subtask. So once I do this, I say this one is finished, it will put 70% against the activity. Now in future, this functionality will provide the gateway by exchanging the information with our site-based solution. So with Asta Connect and Site Progress, so we can transfer this information to Site Progress, pull it back from Site Progress, and so on and so forth. You also got task activity templates. If you go to Library Explorer, what you can do is, if you have to apply the subtask to multiple activities, rather than going into each one and adding the subtasks, you can just add those activities, those subtasks from the template. So if you go to Library Explorer, there should be a library called Task Activity Template. When you click on it, it allows you to create a new template. So in my example, I got break concrete. If I just click on break, I can already have subtasks defined. And the next time, if I want to apply this to any activity, I can simply just click on that activity. And when I go to the task activity feature, there is an option to add from the template here. Like, I'll get the list of the template and you just simply add from the template. And if you got 2 or 4 or 5 or 10 subtasks, it will be added straight away. So this way you can save time by adding individual subtasks. Okay, so the next feature or the next enhancement they've done is with relation to the task work. So there always been a task work functionality inside Powerproject, but they got done some enhancement with the task work, relation to the task work. So now you can specify the material in task work. So if you have a task with the 600 cubic meter of concrete, you can now record the details of material using a new material library that can be added to the Library Explorer. Then we got a default allocation rate. So for permanent resources, instead of using their work rate, any number of resources you assign to a task, it will pick up the default allocation rate from the task. Then you got schedule logistics. So now from quantity from task model consumable resources, you can calculate the number of consumable resources required for that activity. So then that way you can prepare for the logistic. So for example, if you use 600 cubic meter of concrete, if you know the capacity of the concrete mixture lorries, you can calculate how many lorries are needed to bring the concrete on site. And fourthly, you got, now you can combine the work rates of two permanent resources. So if we got a similar permanent resources working on a task, and if both of them got a different work rates, you can combine their work rates to calculate the parameter which you have set. So for example, if you calculate the parameter as duration, both their combined work rates will calculate the duration of how long that activity will take to complete. So let's see that in Powerproject. So in my program, I got an activity called pour concrete. If I see the properties of the activity, I go to effort and modeling. There is a field called work, task work material. Now we can specify the material which is going to be used on that activity. Now the way you can do this is, there is a new library got introduced in version 17. So by default, when you go to Library Explorer, you might not see that library. To enable that library, you just right click on the white area, show libraries, and you will see material library. You just add it to the right hand side and then press OK, and you'll get the material listed there. If you go inside, you can just add any material. You just create the list, and this you can use it inside the task work. Then we got the default allocation rate. So for example, let's say a steel fixture has its own rate. If it can do 10 units per day, but when it's assigned to the activity which got like thicker steel, it will slow down its rate. So we can assign the rate on the activity, and we'll ask the resource to pick up the rate from the task rather than using its own rate. So in here, now if you see, there is a new field available to assign the default allocation rate. Now this activity's got 5 unit per day instead of taking 10 from the steel fixture. And when the steel fixture is assigned to that activity, it will take the 5 instead of 10, and then you can see it takes 20 days to finish the 100 units of steel fixing rather than the 10 days. So now you can assign a default task rate on the activity and tell the resource to fetch the rate from that activity. Now to calculate the consumer resources, number of consumer resources for the logistic purpose, in this example here of pour concrete, I got a resource called concrete mixture lorry. And then if you see the properties of the resource, and if you know the task work, so in this case, I got 600 cubic meter of concrete to pour, and I know the capacity of the concrete mixture lorry, which is 20. It will divide by 600, and it will tell you that it requires 30 lorries to bring concrete for this activity. Now, if you have to do this on multiple activities, you can have a good histogram at the bottom, and then that will tell you the total number of lorries which will be required for the whole project. So that way it becomes powerful. Then you got combined work rates. So if 2 permanent resources with the different work rates working on the same task. So in our example, we need to tile 1,000 for roof, and we got 2 different resources, roofer 1, roofer 2, has got different work rates. So one can lie 100 units, the other can lie 400 units. We can combine their work rates to calculate the duration, so how long it will take for them to finish the activity for tiling the roof. You can see I have assigned both the roofer, and then it's working on the combined work rate. But if I ignore one of them, you will see it will increase the duration of the activity. So if I ignore roofer 2 here, you can see it has changed the duration of the activity to 10 days. So now we can use this combined work rate to calculate exactly how long that task will take if 2 resources, 3 resources, or 4 resources are working together. So these are some of the good enhancements done to the task work in version 17. Okay, what else? So you can find the latest updates and enhancement from the online help. So if you are working on a Powerproject, if you have Powerproject, you can simply press F1, and that will open the online help for you. In the online help, you can see there is a link where you can see all the latest updates, and here you can see what's new in the latest version. You can click on that. You can also click on the documentation portal. This is a new portal which is developed, and in this one you can get help in relation to not just the Powerproject but also the other companion products like Vision, Connect, Easy Plan, Viewer, and you can get your basic information from here. And with the latest version, you can see the updates and features which has been introduced since version 16 all the way to version 17. A couple of other updates they've done is in relation to security. So now with the security, you can assign user access right to reschedule not just the whole program but an individual charts as well. Then there is also access right in relation to the print profile. So if you got 5 or 10 print profile, you can tell a user not to edit a couple of them, or they can edit or delete like most of them. So you can assign the access right for the print profile as well. There is also introduction to a quality check, one of the quality check, where you can now calculate the percentage of activities which doesn't have outgoing link from its end. So there are few enhancements to that, but you can see more detail from the link here. Okay, so after that, where you can download the version 17 link. So you can download the installer from the support portal. You can see the address of the support portal. When you go to the website, it will ask you to log in. So you can use your existing serial number and the email associated with that to log into the portal. And once you are inside the portal, you can click on the support home, and then it will take you to the download center here. It will give you an option for the download center. When you click on the download center, you will see two installers. So on the one on the left is the one which will give you the updates. So it will notify you about the updates. So, and the one on the right is for the corporate IT to use it as a classic installer if they want to centrally manage and deploy the version of Powerproject. If you got any issues or anything like that in relation to a login to support portal, you can contact helpdesk at solidsupport.com.au and we can fix your access rights here. Okay, in summary, so version 17 introduces a brand new installer with this update mechanism that simplifies the way you access the future enhancement. The caveat with this one is like it only works with the subscription licensing model. So if you are still on the old licensing model, like the perpetual one, it won't work on that one. You need to move to the subscription license model. Moreover, there are several exciting new capabilities that will be coming out soon early next year. So stay tuned for those one. Okay. So those were the core updates with version 17. If you got any questions, you got a question box on the GoToWebinar. You can type in your questions. Okay, so someone is asking if there is any cost in upgrading from 16 to 17. There is no cost. So if you are under support, there is no cost to upgrade from 16 to 17. Yes, but there is a cost to switch from perpetual to subscription license, so which is required for version 17. So there's a bit of a cost to move from perpetual to subscription, but there's no cost if you're already having the subscription license and you're under support. You just a free upgrade. You can go to the portal and download the installer from there. Yep, someone says they like the timeline option. Good. They're asking if there's a way to call out an activity on timeline. So yes, so if I show you Powerproject, if I turn on the timeline, you can select an activity and there is a two option here. So you can have it on the bar, you can display as call out. So if there is a very key activity which you want it to be standing out, you can just display as call out. Or in a scenario where there are overlapping activities on the same date, you can call out few activities, or you can put it back on the bar, and it becomes really powerful for your progress update meetings. Yeah, so if they got any issues with the installer, just reach out to helpdesk at Solid Support, and I will send you a different link in case if there's some issue, so you can download the software from there. Yep, I think that's about it. Okay, so thank you everyone for your time. Recording will be sent of this video shortly after the presentation. If you got any further question, please feel free to contact helpdesk at solidsupport.com.au. You can also take the advantage of our other services which we offer at Solid Support. And if you got any questions in relation to that, you can send an email to experience@solidsupport.com.au. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice Christmas break, and we'll continue our Asta project webinar series in the new year. Thank you.